Welcome back to the Strategy Room. This is Last Call with Leventhal, and I am your host, Rick Leventhal. I'm in for Eric Bowling, who is, I believe, at Yankee Stadium because Happy Hour on Fox Business Network is going live from Yankee Stadium today, and I heard Eric is throwing out the first pitch. Is that true, Matt? Do you know?
I haven't heard anything.
Sunday.
He might be.
Sunday in St. Louis.
So that's why Last Call is an hour early.
I'm heading over there next.
You're going over there now. And
I'm going to go hand out flyers.
Where was my invite? Rob the intern is going, and I'm not going to Yankee Stadium. Whatever, I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. I'm not going to whine about it. Of course, you can email us your whines and complaints at strategyroom@foxnews.com. And coming up at 3:30, 30 minutes, well, 23 and a half minutes from now, a very powerful documentary, The Way We Get By. We have the director of the documentary and someone who appears in it about senior citizens who greet returning troops from Iraq and Afghanistan at the airport in Bangor, Maine. It's an amazing piece of film, at least a bit that I watched, and I can't wait to hear more about that. But first, I'm going to bring in my distinguished panel. Dr. Dani Babb is sitting next to me, and Dr. John Rutledge, who was an architect of the Reagan economic plan, right?
Yep, older than dirt.
And you guys, older than dirt, but still looking fabulous.
Cool.
It's the makeup. Don't let him fool you.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to talk to us about small business and about taking advantage of perhaps today's economic environment.
And
Sure.
anything
Anything
investing
else
in
you
real
wanna
estate
talk
and
about?
anything else.
Jim Pinkerton is here, and Jim is one of the smartest men I've ever met. That's not saying a whole lot. And Jim Mendrino's one of the funniest men that I've met in the last 5 minutes. Jim, tell me a joke.
Wow.
Joe Biden.
Hold on, Rich.
I went to a comedy club one night, and Jim was actually a host. You were hosting the event.
Yeah,
so you were
to-
introducing the comedians, telling jokes between the comedians.
Yeah.
You still doing that?
Yeah, and I have the Obama comedy debates with Ellis Hennigan,
Yeah.
where we go around the country, and he debates the liberal side, I debate the conservative side. And It's politics one punchline at a time.
Have you found lately that there are more Obama critics in the crowd?
You know what? It really does depend where you go. When we're in New York, I am sufficiently outnumbered. I say hello and I get booed. It's it's a real pro-Obama crowd. But we've done some stuff outside the city where it's mixed. It's 50-50.
Dr. John,
Yep.
in between bites of your role, if I could ask you,
You don't want me to expire on set.
is that what happens if you don't get your
Yeah,
bread?
I need to keep eating, man.
It's like a bird. We just throw the crumbs out, watch him
Yeah.
peck.
As someone who clearly has had a lot of success in the business world and gave some good advice to one of our more esteemed presidents, what do you say to Barack Obama today?
Well, I've advised some unesteemed ones, too.
Yeah.
So I've seen the gamut. The thing you'd say to Obama is he's being a total idiot.
Really?
Trying to push this agenda too hard, he's going to lose his own base before this is over. Health care is very likely to be the thing that does it. Health care bill is a couple $1 trillion on top of what's already a $10 trillion deficit. The world is selling dollars. The world is trying to find a different way to run itself than the dollar as a reserve. These guys are doing huge, huge damage to the U.S. and global economy. Interest rates up is the next move. So, Barack, you got to go home, get the budget under control, and stop talking about stimulus and rope Joe Biden up.
His
And
stimulus,
don't let him out.
His stimulus is not stimulating you.
And don't teach him what word comes after trillion.
Bread
Don't let him learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim has
Yeah,
been
right.
uncharacteristically quiet. Are you still supporting Barack Obama's plan to save the world?
Listen, I opposed the bailout last fall when it was President Bush and Hank Paulson pushing it. So I certainly oppose this. I couldn't resist hearing what Biden said just yesterday. I know it's been on Fox. The solution to our problems of overspending is to spend more. The only way to avoid bankruptcy is to spend more money. And that sort of sums up
He demand.
the worst of what liberalism has come to.
I got the message there that you need to stimulate the economy by pumping dollars into it, right? Isn't that the message?
The issue on deficit spending is what you get for it. If you get the Tennessee Valley Authority, if you get LaGuardia Airport, if you get Golden Gate Bridge, then you've got something for it. If you just get a pay raise for bureaucrats, then you haven't.
Yeah.
And what about the fact that we don't actually have the money that we're printing to do this stuff with?
Yeah.
We're just printing the money.
Picky.
You know, my friend the other day, speaking of printing money, had a $100 bill that we determined was probably counterfeit.
Out of North Korea, I'm sure.
I actually was, not too many weeks ago, I was in North Korea, in Pyongyang. That's the dollar counterfeiting capital of the earth.
I did not know that.
Absolutely, and I left as the proud owner of a $100 bill that was counterfeit. And they do that. In fact, Kim Jong-il's son, who was stationed in Macau, the gambling headquarters, that was his job, is to launder $100 bills through Macau. Macau's been the source of a lot of the counterfeiting in the world.
And did you take it because you got it in payment of something, or did you pick it up and say, oh, this is counterfeit, I'm going to keep this as a souvenir?
It's a long story, and it's embarrassing. But what I will tell you is that in 5 days in North Korea, I was hosed every possible way by everybody I saw for money. The foreigner comes in there, they just pick your pockets left and right. And it was,
how did you get into North Korea?
I was invited by, it was on Kim Jong-il's birthday. I was invited by his government to come in, and we can't tell anybody about this. To bring a private message to the White House.
Oh.
And so I got to talk with the officials, but I've worked with them for some time.
Danny, did you get to go?
I did not get to go on that trip.
Were you upset about that?
I was very upset about that, and I think that's not cool, and you owe me an apology right here.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
You should go,
Jim, I'm sorry you couldn't go.
And a trip to a vacation land of similar ilk, something really exotic.
Well, Detroit, they got vacancies in Detroit now. That's pretty good.
I heard that the average price of a home in Detroit was $11,000, $11,000 or $16,000.
$31,000 as of March.
$31,000.
$31,000.
Does that mean they went up, or I was wrong on my number?
I think the numbers may have been a little wrong. The foreclosure price, I believe, is around $11,000 average.
So the average cost of a home in Detroit is $31,000.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't someone go there and just buy 100?
There are people doing that in mass quantity. Yeah, there are.
You're really taking a gamble there.
I'm taking a gamble.
Coming back.
You can buy a single-family home for $3,000 down.
And where are you going to work?
Well, $6,000. Right, that's
6,000?
exactly the problem.
Where are you working?
People are not retiring to Detroit.
One place, like I've read that in St. Louis, the Serbo-Croatians have moved in. The same kind of real estate collapse has happened there, and they've seen exactly what you saw, which is that they could build a whole neighborhood, and instantly there's a bunch of Serbo-Croats in St. Louis. So you can have a kind of pioneering into places, but I think Detroit may just be scary enough that nobody's brave enough to go.
Outside of the Middle East, the largest Kurdish population is in Nashville, Tennessee, which is actually increasing their market value. 3% last year.
Bob corrected me. Eric Bowling is throwing out the first pitch in St. Louis.
On Sunday.
On the same mound. On Sunday.
On Sunday.
Okay, so he is at Yankee Stadium for happy hour today, and then I guess he's going to St. Louis.
Yeah, he's been tweeting about that all day.
I don't
want to be on the same mound as Obama.
This is a tweet.
He's not going to throw like a girl, too, is he?
Yeah, exactly.
The last hour was all about tweeting. We're not tweeting in here today.
We're not tweeting?
Not this hour, no. This is a tweet-free zone.
That's a withdrawal zone. Really?
The gauntlet is down.
Can I do my sad face?
Hank, wait, I didn't see it. Do it again. Oh, that's...
Is that good?
We didn't get a close-up. We're really slow. We're minimal staff here this afternoon. Why is that? Where did
Eric's
go?
not here.
Baseball game.
Why are
they
you guys
went to
here? Everyone went
no place to go.
We don't know why
lost
we're
the
here.
bet.
Right. Actually, I lost a bet thanks to your...
Look, he changed his clothes already.
Thanks to him.
He's wearing a polo. What do you mean you're required to wear? Come over here for a second, Rob. Let's show this on camera. So Rob was wearing a shirt and tie a moment ago, and we can't see you.
You got to step all the way in.
Okay, so now you put on a white polo by Ralph Lauren and jeans.
It's a fake from China.
And this is a costume that you've been...
We were asked by the marketing manager, Kevin Harrigan, to wear jeans or khakis and a white polo, and we'll be wearing FBN hats to promote
And
the
you're
show.
going to hand out what, flyers?
We're going to hand out FBN flyers promoting their stream live from the Hard Rock Cafe.
What about like
That's
hats
what we
and
want.
T-shirts and keychains and...
Just
Mouse
flyers.
pads.
Wow.
Mouse pads?
All
The
right.
mouse pads could have been the flyers.
All right, Rob, you're dismissed.
All right, marketing guy needs to get more creative. Sorry,
I'll tell you why they're
marketing
not
guy.
handing out hats and... Good job. Why they're not handing out hats and T-shirts. Because they don't have any money. Nobody has any money. Nobody has any money.
We found that out.
I
the hard way.
think Business Week was down $20 million. They lost $20 million.
Don't get me
last
wrong.
year.
Fox News Channel is making tons of cash.
Yeah.
But we can't spend any of it because
got to hold on to it.
Yeah. Right, Doc?
Sure.
Now, if only the government would follow suit.
Right.
So, if you're not supposed to buy real estate in Detroit, what about New York City? Because someone told me today that this is the absolute best time to buy a house.
Well, he's probably a realtor.
Did he have one listed?
Yeah. Did he have a Coldwell Banker logo shirt?
No.
Then some other banker.
All right. So
no, it is not. It depends on the area, and it depends how long you're going to hold the house for. Look, I'm trying to find a place in New York City myself so I can stop renting. I don't like to rent very much. But the truth is the market here is falling. It is consistently falling quarter after quarter, and until we see several straight months of at least price stabilization, why the hell would you want to buy in that market? Unless you're going to hold for several years and you can get a below whatever the median value is for that home price.
And the commercial bubble is yet to pop in New York.
And it's reminding me of that.
Yes. You're very
My house alone since July of last year has lost over 50% of its value.
50%.
50% of its value. And I'm in the zip code next to a zip code with a lot of foreclosures.
All right, but if you're in the city and you have a building where the prices are down more than 20% from their high, and real interest rates are incredibly good, and you're paying, let's say, I don't know, $800 a square foot for a really great place, wouldn't that make sense to go ahead and pull the trigger on that if you're going to stay there for 3 to 5 years?
If it's
prices are all
10%.
built around the Wall Street being at 14,000, and the market's at 7,000, and all the capital all the capital goes. Well, we're not done yet. All the capital goes to Washington. Then Washington becomes the new New York.
It also doesn't really, I mean, if it's down 20%, but it's got 20% more to go. New York, Manhattan has been behind in the commercial bubble in terms of price per square foot, and the residential bubble throughout history, since we've been tracking numbers. And so if you've got a market that's lagging 2 to 3 years behind the rest of the market, and the rest of the market's dropped another 30%, I personally would either want to get a killer deal for pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, or wait a little bit.
And meanwhile, the top tax rate here is going to be 57% or something. And
Exactly.
Wall Street will still stay because they're all getting bailed out and they stay here. But anybody else in any other kind of business is going to go.
Make it your second home. Make it your second home and not your primary, and stay in a lower cost state.
How can they expect people to pay 57% of their income in taxes?
Good question.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's obscene.
Well, they did before.
So why do we have to do it
The
again?
top tax rate in America from the 30s through the 70s was way higher than
when the Gipper came in. The top federal rate was 70%, and the top rate on investment income was 91%. And you had the state and the local rates on top of that, and you could easily pay 105, 110% marginal rate if you worked at it. And at the time, commercial paper was 21, 22%. Inflation was 15%. So we've seen these rates before, but the capital gains rate is going to double in the bill yesterday in the House, and the dividend tax rate will triple from 15 to 46% with the changes in the tax law.
So if anybody in your family is dying, tell them to go now
That's one way to
before
keep
it
people
becomes more expensive.
That's one way
That
to
was
keep
the
people
story
from
yesterday.
selling stock.
Yesterday there was a leak in the Senate that there's a 55% death tax rate in the works.
Is that? I thought we eliminated the death tax.
They're going to uneliminate it.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing of all.
$10 trillion of a big black hole, and they got to find ways to get money. They're going to tax you when you inhale and again when you exhale.
You need to do something before China makes their margin call. They need to make their money.
But I want to shoot myself now. This is just terrible. Justice says that, John, you should do a joke about Obama and a dog that ate his birth certificate.
I like it.
Is that true?
So are you going to...
Is the dog really? Jim Pinkerton, at least you are honest about what Bush did last year. The economy will turn around in 2010, Ron says, and Republicans will be up the creek in 2010 and 2012.
Enjoy that Kool-Aid.
You don't believe that?
No. It's... The signs are getting worse. It used to be you would drive up Madison Avenue in Manhattan and you'd see maybe 1 or 2 closed storefronts every 5 or 6 blocks. Now you're seeing 1 or 2 closed storefronts every block between the 60s and the 90s. You know, and if that's happening on the upscale stores, what's happening to the bodegas? What's happening to the little mom and pop shops in the middle of Queens or the middle of Brooklyn or the middle of any other city in the country?
So New York City's not recession-proof, not
by a long shot.
No, in fact,
only
actually,
Washington is recession-proof.
Yeah.
right. Commercial real estate space in Manhattan, in Midtown Manhattan, in terms of vacancy rates, has doubled in the last 2 years, and the price has gone down from about $60 a square foot to between $30 and $40 a square foot right here on Fifth Avenue.
So, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and our friend's missing the point here. Behaving like an idiot is not a Republican or a Democratic tactic. It's both of them. You know, until he was displaced by Geithner, Paulson had the most destructive effect on the U.S. economy of any human that ever lived. So we have idiots of both stripes.
Yeah, sure.
But they're behaving even worse now than they were before.
Where's the bottom? Real estate, I'm talking.
It's market dependent. It's so local. I think some areas have already hit bottom. Oregon, Washington, Idaho, maybe perhaps. But I think a lot of other markets have a ways to go. Las Vegas, Riverside, San Bernardino County, Texas.
Las Vegas is devastated.
South Florida.
Question for Dr. Rutledge.
Yep.
Timeline for the economy resurgence with cap and trade and healthcare legislation and without those same bills passing. What's the best case scenario and worst case, and when?
The scenario is like this. You had a freeze up in the capital markets where people would not price securities. That shut down the capital market. Only last September did it leap over to the GDP economy when Lehman failed and the money market fund run happened and so forth. That's when the real economy died. Since the big stimulus programs, we now have a 900% increase in bank reserves since last September. That is cracking through the credit market, the bond market problem, and now you're seeing bond markets clear again, spreads returning to normal, and so forth. The next thing that happens after that is you got to find a way to get banks to loan money. They're not doing that yet, which means the capital markets are coming back before the real economy. That's why I own bank stocks today, but not employment-dependent stocks. Banks won't loan money until they can't make money selling bits of paper to the government, and that's months and months away. So the real economy won't come back, but what's happening is the whiff of the 900% increase in reserves is hitting the bond market and the commodity markets. So today, the 30 years up to 450 again. The 30-year bond is going to be more than 5%, not before very long. And the commodity prices are rising. And top stock in my portfolio today is FCX, which is copper. Copper, coal, oil, and all these other commodities are up. So about the time you see the economy come back to life, you're going to see the inflation story hit the interest rates and the capital markets again. And so the trade in the stock market is to own something that was selling for half of what it's worth and write it back to 3/4 of what it's worth, but to beware that in Washington they're doing things today to reduce the fundamental value of the companies, the value of the cash flows. So this is a short-term bullish trade, not a long-term bullish trade.
Do you think the economy could have been spurred faster if instead of, bailing out the banks, they would have just pumped a whole bunch of money to lend immediately to the Small Business Administration?
That's sure. That would not hurt. Some way of getting money in the hands of small businesses.
Yeah.
Danny and I spent 3 days this week
5 days
on an assignment to start to help a lady start a business in Georgia. She's an Air Force veteran. She cannot borrow $1 from the SBA or from a bank, from a credit union. So she started a fruit stand to sell watermelons and tomatoes to make enough money to start a business to wash dogs. We put together dog washing for her in her town, where we invited the firemen and the policemen and the local citizens, and she raised money that way. That's what people have to do today to start a business.
How did you wind up doing that?
We do work with lots of different networks, and we pitched an idea, and CNN picked it up, and it's been airing 150 times actually. It'll from Thursday until Tuesday. If you want to check out her website, go to mypamperedpoochusa.com and check it out. Check out her website and check out her story. See what she's done. We sent out a blast.
Where's your sense of loyalty? Why would you do this for CNN?
Our sense of loyalty is tomorrow when we do our show from 12 to 2 on Fox Business about
entrepreneurs. To Fox first, and if they don't pick it up, they don't pick it up. But in any case,
they had the first bite at the apple.
We went there. We helped this lady, and she's 24 years in the Air Force. She can't get a Patriot loan through the SBA. And basically what we tried to do was take her business plan and the $147,000 of year one and initial startup costs and get that down to something around $30,000, which we were able to do in a period of time of several days.
Beating up landlords, beating up vendors, not hiring lawyers and accountants, things like that.
And then going as far as, like you said, the dog wash, she's still got her fruit stand. She's making a couple $100 a week, and she's going to continue to pump away.
So today you got to fight for it if you want to start a business. You're not going to get the money from a bank.
When you started telling the story, I was thinking, wow, this would make a great show.
Well, that's what we've been trying to do.
We love that idea. We love that idea, and we've been working on that show here at Fox Business for a long time.
Diane says, I would like to buy a small house or a condo, but the Conshohocken, Pennsylvania area doesn't seem to be dropping in prices.
That's because of Vanguard.
That's a good point. It's partly job-based. So if your jobs are still stable in the area and prices have been stable and foreclosures are not high, then you may not see a drop in price. One of the websites I love is city-data.com, and you can check out the last several years' worth of median home price quarter by quarter. And if you're not seeing a drop and it's pretty consistent, it's probably a good market to jump into while rates are low.
Rick in Coos Bay says, Democrats who say the Republicans are through are getting too cocky. We threw out the Republicans for acting against our interests. Now the Democrats are doing even more idiocy than the Republicans. Do they honestly think we won't throw them out too?
There's a great line from Will Rogers where he said the problem with Democrats is that for years they've been giving the people what they thought they needed instead of what they wanted. That's true of just about every politician. They give us what they think we need as opposed to what we actually elected them to do.
Republicans got blown away in '92.
Yeah.
And then they thought the Democrats, Bill Clinton and former Speaker Foley and so on, thought that they were locked in. And then the '94 midterm came along, and Gingrich won, and the Republicans won the Senate as well. So the American people can be pretty impatient with failure.
Yeah, the pendulum swings back and forth. Pedro says that his wife is a new real estate agent in Florida, and they're betting the market will slowly come back. And they're hoping people from high tax states move to Florida.
It's likely.
His wife's real estate site is propertiesbycamille.com.
Buy from Camille.
Propertiesbycamille.com.
There
you go, Pedro. There's your plug.
Yeah. Right.
Elections have consequences, Ron says. I am quoting the Blue Chips forecast, no Kool-Aid here. The economy, despite the government, will grow in 2010.
Well, who has the crystal ball? Do you? No.
Who what?
Has the crystal ball?
Crystal ball?
Yeah, that's a heck of a prediction to make.
Warren Buffett says unemployment's going to 11%.
I don't care what any of these morons say.
We're spending more money. We're going to eventually have to borrow it or print it.
Look at Pedro. He's so excited that we said. Can you see him? He's celebrating. Look at him. Yeah, all right.
Pedro, is it hot in there? What's with the fan?
Hey, let me know, Pedro, if the hits go up, so if they skyrocket on your wife's website now. That would be awesome.
You should also check out DrDannyBabb.com and RutledgeCapital.com.
Yes, you should.
Which are two really good sites.
Because we're going to buy everything from Camille.
Healthcare is a right to those who don't understand the Constitution. This is total BS. In order to call healthcare a right, you must misread and ignore the United States Constitution.
True.
Well, you often hear that Americans have a right to healthcare, they have a right to a home, and as a human being who feels for other human beings, I want everyone to have health care. I want everyone to have a home. That's not what the Constitution guarantees us. It guarantees us the right to work for it. It guarantees us the right to earn it. And if we work hard and we play fair and we do the right thing, we can get there. There needs to be less about handing people stuff and more about making the playing field level. That's the only way the economy is ever going to be fair for everybody.
Did you see, by any chance, the piece that John Stossel did for 2020 about Canadian health care, and he was on Glenn Beck yesterday?
Dogs?
Yeah.
Dogs and cats can get CAT scans the next day in Canada, and people have a 30-day waiting list.
Yeah, I believe that's airing tonight, right? 10 o'clock.
That's tonight?
Yeah.
I guess it was
Yeah, they were showing a clip.
So if your kids are really ugly, you can maybe slip them into the vet.
Call them pets.
Or make friends with a vet now and just bring your kid in there.
All right, Dr. Bob, you've been asked to restate your website.
Oh, Babb. It's
Sorry.
Dr. Dani Babb, DaniBabb.com.
D-A-N-I-B, there it is. No, that's not it. D-A-N-I-B-A-B-B.
Yep.
Is there a dot, Dr. Dani?
www.drdanibabb.com.
Are there dots in the Dr. Dani Bob, or is it all one word?
No. There you go.
Did they misspell your name?
There we go.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, good. There it is.
Thank you.
All right, we got that plug. Anything you want to plug?
His book, Lessons from a Road Warrior. You
Yeah,
have to buy it.
my book. It'll help the economy.
He really wants to see
you got
his sales,
$20, or if you want part of it for
I thought
free,
you dropped the price.
You can get. Oh yeah, it's cheaper now.
It's cheaper now.
Yeah,
Right.
Your book is cheaper.
but there's also the investment part of it is free to download on the website.
Okay.
If you want to. It's called Weather Map Investing. It's basically the idea that return differentials is what drives capital gains. Return differentials behave exactly like pressure differentials on a weather map, or temperature differentials. Same math, same science.
All right, good. And you have a show on Saturday, 12 to 2?
12 to 2.
Tomorrow, your
Yep.
questions, your money. We have call-ins
Yep.
live from people
Entrepreneurs.
who want to start businesses. Our message is get off your butt, get off the couch.
Don't wait for the government.
Do it yourself.
That's awesome.
And 4 o'clock today, I will be on with Neil Cavuto. And I'm not
That's
so sure if we're on with Beck tonight or
third
not.
We're
but
scheduled for Beck, but they blew us off 2 days in a row, so then today might be the third.
Maybe you should
we'll
play
be
Hard
on-
to Get.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, we did play Hard to Get. Remember
Yeah.
the 5 days with another?
Yeah, good point.
Oh, right.
Good point.
Jim, anything you want to
I'll be on Fox News Watch at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, and then they rerun it at 11:30 p.m. tomorrow. And I've also started a website on healthcare called SeriousMedicine.org.
Cool.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Interesting. We'll check
check it out.
Jim? What do you got?
The Obama comedy debates with Ellis Hennigan, or catch me doing stand-up at Stand-Up New York in New York City tonight, or buy the book, Complete Idiot's Guide to Comedy Writing.
Jim-Mendrinos.com. Does someone already have JimMendrinos.com?
No, the double M's, nobody could ever get it right. So if you type in Jim Mendrinos, all one word, it goes to me. You put the dash in, it goes to me. We make it easy.
Wow.
Good deal. All right, thanks to all of
Rick.
you for being
Thank
here.
you.
We got to clear the panel for our next group of guests, but have a great weekend. All right? And for those of you watching, stick around. We got a couple guests coming in right now, these documentary film producers. It's very interesting stories. So good luck with your show.
Thank you.
And I'm going to watch.
I hope it becomes something.
Yes.
It'd be awesome.
I think it will. I think you're onto something here.
I hope so. Maybe this will show it.
I'll see you guys.
Guess I gotta watch CNN, huh?
Yeah, well.
Sorry, man.
Every once in a
You
while.
can get it off of our website, too. Take care. Bye.
All right, see you. Oh, geez, you okay?
Yep. Just a clip.
Take care.
You too.
See ya. Thank you.
Take it easy, Rick.
Bye, Jim. All right.
See ya. See you next week.